The states of Utah, Colorado, Arizona and New Mexico have one border in common called the Four Corners. It is the only location in the United States that is on the border of four states. The name comes from the Four Corners Monument, located where the four borders touch. The monument was built in the middle of nowhere and is not at all impressive, but attracts many visitors who seem to enjoy straddling simultaneously the territory of four states. I'm not sure about the dog, though. Have I traveled all the way from Europe just to see this? Certainly not. Unfortunately, there are many interesting historical places and spectacular sites to visit in this interesting region. In New Mexico, and close to the New Mexico-Arizona border, some impressive geological monuments rise from the surrounding plain. One is called Fort Butte, which faces the bigger Bennett Peak. The most famous, Shiprock, is considered sacred by the local Navajos, who call it the Winged Rock, according to a legend that a phantom ship once bore the Navajo people away, saving them from warring neighbors. In southwestern Colorado, this is the fertile Montezuma Valley, which lies at the foot of one of the most famous American archaeological sites, Mesa Verde. I'm about to take a true step back in time. About 1400 years ago, and long before any European exploration of North America, the ancient foreigners, or Anasazi, as the Navajo called them, lived in this region. They built their dwellings beneath the overhanging cliffs of canyons, which are difficult to reach, even by modern technology. They lived and flourished, eventually creating elaborate communities built in stone within the sheltered alcoves of the canyon walls. A first ranger tour takes me to the largest and most renowned cliff dwelling, called Cliff Palace, which contains more than 150 rooms built between the 12th and the 13th centuries. The Anasazis were good builders, artistic in their craft, and skillful at making a living from a difficult land. Their presence is still visible today in many areas of the Four Corners region. Their dwellings were made of sandstone, cut and cemented with mud and water. They spent most of their time in farming and getting food. Archaeologists have been trying to understand the life of the Anasazi, but despite years of excavations, analysis, classification and comparison, our scientific knowledge remains sketchy. The round objects in front of the buildings are remnants of kivas, subterranean chambers used for religious and mysterious ceremonies. More challenging is the visit to Balcony House, a ruin that sits in a high alcove in the west wall of Soda Canyon, and that can only be reached by climbing a series of steep ladders. The visit is not for those who fear heights or tight places. Careful attention to detail and the skill necessary to construct a village in this particular alcove make Balcony House a classic example of Pueblo architecture.
However low.
The Anasazi lived in Mesa Verde for less than 100 years. Then, suddenly, by the year 1300, Mesa Verde was deserted, and nobody really knows what happened.
That room up there, see the ghost lines? We call those ghost lines going around that soot, that black area up there. That's where a fire had been in a room for until it collapsed.